Mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome to the Gary Sutton Show here Tuesday morning, March the 10th, 2026, right here at Wellspan Park at Brooks Robinson Plaza in the middle of downtown York. Mark McKenzie here with you as well. I am Gary Sutton, and glad you could take the time to join us here today, and looking forward to a great round of guests this morning, topics, lots of local stuff, and also a few national things as well. Didn't know that Iran could be described as a little excursion. I've thought about excursions over the years. I've taken a few, but I never thought of any that involved dropping bombs or having them dropped on me. But that's just me. What do I know? All brought to you by our presenting sponsors, Kindness Worldwide, and Anstott and Sparler, attorneys at law. And we'll be talking more about them throughout the morning. But we also have our Back Nine text line brought to you by Back Nine, the premier golf location here in York County. 833-478-4729 is our number. You can text us throughout the show on anything that comes up on your mind as you hear the show, and we'd love to hear from you. We have a couple people who do that regularly, but we'd like to get more. Don't be afraid to text us. It's a great way to interact with you. We normally try to react pretty much right away. Of course, the Back Nine, where golf never sleeps. Go to back9golf.com/York-PA for that. And I didn't put a new question up today on the Gary Sutton Show. Things that inspired you in your lifetime. I got a number of people that saw me and said, hey, that Jim Johnson interview yesterday was really cool. They liked that, and kind of revisiting an event that occurred over 20 years ago when an autistic young man was put into a game and went crazy and scored 20 points in the only reason it wasn't 21, Mark, was he stepped on the line for one of his threes. And so it would have been 7 threes. He had 6 threes and a 2 in the space of because he missed his first 2 shots, in the space of 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
Impressive.
Which was crazy. I mean, it just was nuts. But it was a great interview yesterday. I really appreciated Coach Johnson being on with us. And we're going to have him on again some other time. Today is national, other things today. You could get us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, where we have various kinds of things constantly. Scour up and down, especially at Facebook, which is kind of our show page, Gary Sutton Show at Facebook. Just go in there and you can find a lot of our interviews, things that we've done, little things I drop in during the course of the day. That's kind of my go-to place, but we put it out in other things too. So feel free to get into Facebook, Gary Sutton Show all the time. And you are welcome to be interacting with our show all day. As we said, 833-478-4729. Let's see. Today is National Cold Cuts Day, according to this. No, that's an old one. I don't know why. I just changed that, I thought.
Yes, cold cuts was last week.
Every day is National Cold Cuts Day, by the way.
Well, I mean, this is a variation of that. It's a National Pack Your Lunch Day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bologna.
Maybe cold cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still pack your lunch at all? You pack kind of a breakfast.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was a big tuna fish guy, which is not very popular.
Tuna salad.
Yes.
I must constantly change that because of a bad experience I had that I just now could talk about.
I will tell you, I tried something over the weekend. Mm-hmm. They're always trying to do something different. Tuna fish in pouches. Have you ever seen that? You've probably seen.
Yeah, I
Not
have.
Cans, in pouches.
Right.
And I tried it once, and that was enough for me.
Not needed.
Absolutely not.
No excuse.
So I saw these. Chicken of the Sea, I think. I could be wrong. One of the major brands has come out with an entire line of flavored tuna and like lemon pepper, like a smoky sweet, a Thai chili. Man, I'm telling you, was that hot?
Yeah.
Unless you can. Don't eat the pepper in it.
May I return to my original? It's National Mario Day or Mario. We're going to go with Mario because if you say Marco Rubio, you don't say Mirko.
Right. That's
you
right.
say Marco, and so we're going to go with Mario to be consistent. And as you said, National Pack Your Lunch Day. 7 days until St. Patrick's Day, Mark. 1 week away.
Is that all?
1 week away to St. Patrick. Yes, it is. I'm going to try to sneak on by that day if we can. 22 days until April Fool's Day, in case you're counting down the time. There, man, April Fool's Day just around the corner. Yeah, okay, if you're one of those people, please don't run into me that day. Okay, just don't. So there. And what other days do we have now?
Well, it's funny
And things.
funny that you should ask. Doesn't that take you back?
Oh no, the bagpipes.
It's International Bagpipe Day. Woo! Rock on!
When I was in Edinburgh a couple years ago,
Yes.
on a trip, there was a guy playing bagpipes in the middle of Edinburgh, and I stopped and listened to him. And the only thing that's bad about the bagpipes is that dun in the background, because they have to get air up in the bags and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, bagpipes can catch you in a moment. They really are. They're mournful. They're reflective. I think they, you don't see a lot of bagpipe music in the top 40, but I'm just saying overall, they're fun to listen to.
It's funny that you should mention that because as you're saying it, I thought of it. And there's a song by Wings. I don't know if you've seen there's a new documentary out about Paul McCartney and the Wings years. And I heard this story about a song that he had that was a huge, huge #1 hit in England. Mull of Kintyre. Have you ever heard of it?
I've not, no.
See? And I felt the same way. I'm like, what? How do I not know about this song? Well, the words are very simple and all. And I'm going to do this by kind of rolling into it.
Okay.
But one of the reasons why, aside from the words and all, is this part in the kind of middle of the song. So let's check this out. So what's better than one bagpipe?
Many a bagpipe. Well, you know what you don't hear in this? You don't hear that drone. They wipe that out somehow.
Yes. Well, and it's with the music.
Right.
So it kind of takes it away. And they come back later
like that.
on. Oh, they come back later on. It's just and it builds. And it's very kind of like you're right,
Very
mournful.
proud. Well, but it's got a proudness to it also. There's different times you see bagpipes. I remember when Payne Stewart died, the golfer, and they had a memorial service for him at a golf course for the Tour Championship, and they had this bagpiper come out who walked off into the mist down the first hole that morning, and he was playing this, Amazing Grace.
About it.
They're just, it's an amazing sounding instrument. I think they have something in Edinburgh called the Tattoo each year, where all these bagpipers come there. And it's almost impossible to get a hotel room there. We were going to go there during that time, but you just couldn't get in. So we went at an earlier time, and you're going to hear bagpipers when you're in Scotland. It's just the way it is, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful instrument to listen to.
If you have not heard Wings, Paul McCartney, Mull of Kintyre.
Mull of Kintyre.
I highly recommend it. It was a revelation to me, and even at my age.
I'm glad you brought that one up.
International Wig Day.
Wig Day. Yeah, if you have to wear a wig, your self-esteem is probably suffering a bit. I don't know. Now, I understand with women. And I know with people that have cancer and so forth, that's something you want to do. And I'm not insensitive to that. I just have never, my hair is like pretty much going on top. And I just had never thought about that. And the reason is because I've seen guys try to put wigs on.
And it just doesn't.
And it just looks like an animal curled
Hair
up in their
club
head.
for men, no.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
I will say this. I like playing a game. Usually Deb and I are watching TV, but I'm the one who brings it up. I'll say, is that a wig?
Yeah.
And, she'll inform me, like to her educated eye, as to whether it is or not. Salvation Army Day arrived in America.
Great organization. Used to go to the Salvation Army Church and for a long time and helped out with different things. And from time to time. In a little way, I wasn't no big, but I'll tell you what, they do so much for the community, and even here in York, they have a lot of things that they do quietly for the community, but they do an awful lot of things at Christmas time, especially. And of course, who wouldn't remember the Salvation Army? If you said one thing, they'd say, well, the kettles. Mm-hmm. The kettles are big. Yeah.
Landline telephone day. And why? Because on this date, 1876, first telephone call, Alexander Graham Bell spilled some acid. Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you.
And Watson called back and said, your call is very important to us, and then hung up. Yeah.
And who has a landline?
The biggest lie in the world. Your call is very important to us. Yeah. Okay, fine.
Do you have a landline?
I don't anymore. No, I got rid of it years and years ago.
I just had recently some guy, he's been trying to call me for like a long time. Mm-hmm. And
on your landline.
And we figured out that's why, like I've had my cell phone for a long time.
Right.
Like, oh, what number were you calling? It was the landline from like 20 years ago.
And think about what that's done. Because you no longer need a phone book, because unless someone has your cell phone number, they're sunk. I mean, you really can't.
Pretty much.
You can't hook up with people in terms of the phone.
It is U.S. Paper Money Day.
Okay.
And that's because on this date, 1862, the U.S. issued the very first paper money in the form of 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500,
wow,
and $1,000 notes.
Isn't that interesting?
It is. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do we have time, or do you want to take a break?
You know who all the people are on the front of each of those notes?
Most of them. I'm trying to 500. Was it Samuel Chase?
I'm not sure.
Well, we can do that. And some of the other very interesting things that happened on this date in history and birthdays.
All coming up next here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We're at 6:16. back on the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. You know, you got me thinking there, Mark, about the different bills. And, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, whose picture is on each of the bills that we have in our monetary system, like the $1 bill, everybody knows George Washington's on that one, right? $2 bill, Thomas Jefferson, who was the third U.S. president. $5 bill was Abraham Lincoln, 16th U.S. president. $10 bill, Alexander Hamilton. And then the $20 bill is Andrew Jackson. He was the seventh president of the United States. By the way, Alexander Hamilton was the first U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. $50 bill, Ulysses S. Grant, who probably was one of the worst presidents we ever had, but pretty good general, 18th U.S. president. The $100 bill is Benjamin Franklin, founding father, inventor, and diplomat. Now, he and Hamilton are the only two non-presidents right now on current circulating currency. Hamilton on the 10, Franklin on the 100. It's a future change planned on the $20 bill. The Treasury Department has planned to replace Andrew Jackson with abolitionist Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill with expected redesign somewhere around the year 2030. Now, you might want to consider discontinued bills. Ready for this? Discontinued bills. $500 bill, William McKinley, discontinued. $1,000 bill, Grover Cleveland, discontinued. $5,000 bill, James Madison, father of the U.S. Constitution, discontinued. $10,000 bill, this is the one Mark mentioned, Simon Chase, who I think was also a Secretary of the Treasury, if memory serves. And then a $100,000 bill, there was such an animal one time, that was Woodrow Wilson. That was a gold certificate used only for bank transfers. And that was a $100,000 bill, and that was Woodrow Wilson. They are all discontinued from 500 up. So there you go. We did not know that.
All I'm going to say is that be very careful when looking for an answer to that question, because I did it 3 different times and I got 3 different sets of answers. Mm-hmm. So just be careful. You had the right ones, but there's lots of other stuff, even using AI. So for what that's worth.
Yeah, you have to double check those things.
By the way, when we came out of the break, you heard Boston, More Than a Feeling, and the founder and the whole brainchild behind the group Boston, Tom Schultz, is 79 years old today. Basically what he did was he took, you know what the Carpenters did? They layered.
The voiceover stuff.
Yes. He did the same thing, but with guitars.
Yeah.
Rock guitars. And it was
good at it.
That first album was just classic. Bad Bunny is 32 today. Carrie Underwood, 43. Mm-hmm. John Hamm from Mad Men.
Yeah, Mad Men.
He's 55. Two-time.
Still a relatively young man. I thought he would have been a little older, but he's still a pretty young guy.
And he's like a 5-time host of Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. It's a kind of comic edge to him these days. 2-time Olympic gold medalist Mitch Gaylord, 65.
He was a male gymnast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sharon Stone is
65 now.
Yes.
Wow.
It's crazy. What was the 84 Olympics, I think?
Yeah, it was.
84 and 88.
Still remember this really young, black-haired guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone, 68. And
who does not look like Sharon Stone anymore.
Well, she doesn't look like 68 either.
No, she does not.
And our last...
We've seen a lot of Sharon Stone over the years.
That's true.
From, by the way, Edinburgh, Pennsylvania.
Well, wait a second. Oh, go ahead.
Went to Edinburgh College.
Oh, did she?
Yes, she did.
Well, she's a very accomplished actress in her own right. But finally...
Go ahead.
Chuck Norris, 86. Speaking of wig day.
What was that machine that he used to push all the time with Christy Brinkley?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was
like a universal gym kind of thing.
Yes, it was kind of angled. And then you would use your own
pull
weight.
The strings.
Yes. Yeah.
I had one of those one time.
Did you really?
Good co-rack. Nice co-rack. I gave it away to a friend of mine. I really did. Never used it.
Yeah, those things. I used, what was the one with the Tony guy with the ponytail and the hat?
Oh, yeah.
And he would do, and it would look like he was kind of flying.
Yeah. You had one of those?
I found one at a, actually, my wife did. She's the one who found it. Mm-hmm. And she says, look, here's one. It's in the box. Hasn't even been opened.
Wow.
And they were selling it for $5. So I felt like, well, I'll give it a try. Let's see what happens. It was the worst piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And dangerous.
I remember that guy. He was kind of,
Yes. Anyway, moving along. On this date, 1849, Abraham Lincoln, who, if this had been a success, he might never have been president. He applied for a patent for a device. It was a blow-up bag. And the idea was to lift boats over shoals and obstructions.
Wow.
He was the only U.S. president to apply for a patent.
That's interesting, and obviously must not have worked out all that well.
We hear a lot about records. We've done several sports records in this as we look back. In 1920, the NHL's Quebec Bulldog player, Joe Malone. Now, I'm not familiar with Joe Malone, but he had the kind of year in 1920 that was unbelievable. On this date, he scored 6 goals against another team. Can you just were the other team, were they playing?
Yeah,
were they on the ice?
Did they clear the ice? What happened?
Well, then I started looking into this guy, and 5 weeks before, he scored 7 goals in one game. So it was
smoke.
it was unbelievable.
Who were they playing?
I don't. And then in the first game, I don't know. On this date, 1951, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover declined the post of what? Somebody wanted to hire him, and it was a high-profile job, but he declined it. What do you think he declined?
Vice president or something?
Baseball commissioner.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Really?
But the players would have all been worried because he'd been taking films of them somewhere and keeping them tucked away.
1963 on this date, Major League infielder Pete Rose made his debut. And
Charlie Hustle.
With Cincinnati, he got 2 hits.
Yep, got called Charlie Hustle. Ended up having, 4,000 hits?
At least.
3,000
yes.
hits.
3,000 for sure. On this date in 1964, one of the greatest songs, probably in the top 100, Simon and Garfunkel record The Sound of Silence.
Yeah, The Sounds of Silence. That later on got played on The Graduate, yeah.
Yes. 2 others. On this date in 1969, James Earl Ray pled guilty to the murder of Martin Luther King Jr.
Didn't they catch him in England or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, by the way, Pete Rose did get 4,000 hits, finished his career with 4,256 hits. There you go.
Lastly, on this date in 1971, the U.S. Senate approved an amendment lowering the voting age to 18. One of the great arguments, I think. You know, if you can go and fight for your country, you should vote for it.
Right.
And that passed. And,
You could fight for your country, but you couldn't drink for your country either.
That
so
too.
That was the other part of it that people would throw in there. By the way, here's a guy that must have gotten a little tired before he decided to run for office. Did you ever hear about the guy who legally changed his name to literally anybody else and ran for president
I think I do remember
in 2024?
That.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, anyway, he didn't get much traction in his presidential run, so now he's going after the next best thing. He's becoming the mayor of North Richland Hills, Texas. Literally is 37 years old, and he works as an animal technician at a university lab in Dallas. But he says he's ready to be mayor and will be challenging current mayor Jack McCarty in the May 2nd general election. He says that he initially decided to do it because McCarty was going to run unopposed, and some locals haven't approved of him, but literally isn't planning on fundraising or spending much money, so it's a bit of a gimmick. Literally, he was born as Dustin Eby. He says his friends still call him Dusty, and he's cool with that because someday he plans to change his name back. As for his politics, literally says he leans Republican. Literally anybody else is his official name now as he runs for the mayor of Eby, or whatever that place is in Texas. Yeah.
Did you ever think to change your name?
No, I never have. It's people have always asked, "Is that your real name?" I said, "Who would come up with Gary Sutton as a stage name?" You know, it's not. It's not exactly. No, that's my given name.
I never. Mark. I just liked Mark. I didn't hate it enough to want to change it, but
Right.
I understand that some people do.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people in our business who go by different names.
Well, and there's a reason for that because you want to kind of protect yourself. I used my real name at my very first radio job, and figuring I didn't know that it would affect anything, and people were able to find my phone number, and it's just better.
Yeah,
if you don't know.
Yeah. Maybe I'll change my name. I don't know.
What would you change it to?
I don't know.
Would you change the first, the last, or both?
If I changed it, I think I'd change both. I think I would.
How about Newton Snodgrass?
Newton Snodgrass. That sounds.
It's memorable.
It's catchy. It's a good
Yes.
conversation piece. Newton Snodgrass.
Well, coming up next on the Newton Snodgrass show.
That's exactly. I don't know. I don't know. I've come this far. I figure, we're.
Yeah, it's kind of late for that.
Yeah, what the heck? I'd have to change all the shirts, all the cards, all the. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. We'll come right back with more straight ahead. It's the Gary Sutton Show on a Tuesday morning, right here from downtown York. We are the voice of York and York County, all here on WOYK. Imagine if that was the only noise in a song, you'd be going crazy in about 2
I
minutes.
was lying on the grass of Sunday morning of last week, indulging in my self-defeat.
Kind of a one-hit wonder, Len, and Steal My Sunshine from 1999.
I don't remember this song, actually.
Yeah, it was a big tune, but they're one-hit wonders.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
But we've jumped to the late 90s.
Yeah. I don't mind it. It's a little annoying over and over again, but I want to hear what they get. That's what I'm waiting for. Yeah.
And they have a nice woman singing.
I know it's up for me. Making sure I'm not in too deep.
Okay. I officially hate that.
That was enough. It's not on the list?
No, but it is now. I mean, it just made it. Yeah. It just made it. By the way, President Trump yesterday said during a congressional GOP event that the Iran war was a quote-unquote short-term excursion after telling a CBS reporter earlier that the war is very complete, quote-unquote. He said, we took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. I think you'll see it's going to be short-term excursion. Short-term, President Trump repeated. As you know, that's kind of how the way he talks. How good is our military, right? Short-term, unquote. He said, we rebuilt the military in the first term, and I didn't know we'd be using it so much in the second term, quote, unquote, he said. The president elaborated that during a press conference on Monday afternoon. And when asked a question, you called it an excursion on Iran. You said it would be over soon. Are you talking this week it'll be over? Or President Trump said no, but soon, not kind of limiting himself to a particular time frame. So that was the president yesterday. Maybe the big news story yesterday, and the other big news story is take a look at your gas pumps. Now, the price of gas dropped yesterday suddenly from like $1.20 down to $90. But the prices here in our country have gone up. I would buy one this morning at $3.79 already. And then across the street, it was $3.39, which was kind of interesting. There's a story there, I'm sure. These two gas stations used to, I'm not going to say where they're at, but they used to be the same exact price. I thought they played off each other all the time. But now they're like 40 cents apart, which I wonder, how do you do that? So is somebody... For example, if you're the one that has $3.79 a gallon and the other one has $3.39 a gallon, they're both regular, aren't you feeling like people are going to look and say, man, you're gouging me. I'm going over to that other place right away and get their gas. I mean, why wouldn't you go over there at 40 cents a gallon less? You don't have to be a brain surgeon on this.
I think part of it has to do with if you're familiar with that location. Like there's a location that I'm very familiar with, two competing stations on the other side of the same street, all right? And they constantly toy with one another. So one will be a little higher one day, the other will be a lot higher the next day. So
40 cents a gallon.
Well, 40 cents is a lot. And then there's a station just down the street. So it's maybe a mile, maybe less than that. They're always like 9 cents cheaper per gallon than either one of them, whatever the lowest one is. Right. So, there's all kinds of little games. I do remember, I think it was Sheetz. This was a couple of years ago. You might remember this. I think it was on the 4th of July. They sold gas for $177.6.
Oh, yeah. To celebrate
the holiday and all. But,
you know what bothers me a little bit, and this is just me, and I not knowing, and I think I already know the answer to it. In fact, I'm sure I know the answer to it. Where you have the same chain of convenience stores, but different prices all over the place, to the point of like maybe 30 cents difference sometimes. And I go, that's kind of awful. If I drove around the county today and I happened to see one of your stores over here that was at like $2.79 and over here now at $3.39, or and I'd be going, what are you doing?
They know exactly what
different locations where there's different kinds of traffic, and different kinds of competition around, or no competition around. Like there was one down in, down in Loganville that I stopped at. There was 30 cents higher than one that was up near where I lived, and the same convenience store, same brands, but, different prices. So I just,
I know there's one, I went by it yesterday by a major hospital, and the $3.79 was at the big store big convenience store chain, gas pumps right across the street. So they're probably banking on these people make good money. They're coming out maybe or going into work and they need gas. We're right here. And, hey, so what if it's $3.79? We're here right now.
Yeah, you can be pretty sure they did a demographic study somewhere on the line there, and they know, what the average family makes and all that kind of stuff. By the way, President Trump was asked also yesterday about seizing Iran's oil. We took care of that with Venezuela, and he said it's too soon to talk about, but he doesn't rule it out. That was in a phone call, by the way. That was a different one with NBC News. And he weighed in on Iran's new leader, the Texas Senate race, at his push to get Save America Act through the Congress. He says he's not going to pass any other legislation or sign any other legislation until the Save America Act, which is about voting, gets through the Senate. It already is going through the House, but he's talking about that. He also said he did not want to discuss whether he would like to seize Iranian oil, but added, certainly people have talked about it, quote unquote. Again, he always puts these little teases out there to you.
Floating it, see if it's popular.
I guess. And he said taking control of some of Iran's oil could strain U.S. relations with China. About 80% of Iran's crude oil exports go to China.
Really, 80%?
I did not know that. The world's second largest economy and America's biggest geopolitical rival. Oil prices shot past $100 a barrel over the weekend in response to U.S.-Israeli war with Iran.
I checked it this morning. I think it was 85 or 90, somewhere in there.
It dropped to 90 yesterday late. And then they're talking today about using oil reserves, and people were questioning about that.
Well, in the oil reserve, that was kind of an interesting thing that I learned over the weekend, that we had used some of that last year, but that they hadn't filled the strategic oil when the prices came down, which is normally exactly what they do.
The president also said yesterday in this same phone call, I'm focused on one thing, and that's the vote on the Save America Act. He stressed the importance of passing the measure, which would require, and again, if you've not followed the Save America Act, proof of citizenship nationwide to register to vote, among other provisions. The bill has cleared the House, but faces difficult odds in the Senate, where it lacks the 60 votes needed to pass under the filibuster rule. Asked whether Congress will approve the bill, Trump said, I don't know. Nobody is doing much on it, he added. Until they do, I'm not doing anything. Meaning he's not going to sign other legislation, or at least that's the intimation that he gave until the bill is passed.
So have you ever heard of this phrase?
Go ahead.
Silver tsunami.
No, I've never heard of that, come to think of it.
See, I've heard of Silver Surfer, which is, like one of those superhero comic booky. Silver Sneakers, I've heard of, all right. And I've heard of tsunamis, but I never the two together. Well, apparently this has to do with, and actually you and I, we're not part of a silver tsunami, but we could be if we left our jobs. So the silver tsunami is this term they're using for the potential, because there's so many people who are over the age of 65 who are still working. There is some worry that they might retire and take all their knowledge with them. And that is what they're calling, check this out, a silver tsunami.
It's a wave of retirements coming from baby boomer business owners. So get it, silver is for the baby boomers. And it's being called a tsunami because nearly half of U.S. small business owners are 55 or older. Only 54% have a succession plan in place. So if these folks close up shop, retire, and end the business, that would be a big problem for workers, because small businesses employ more than 62 million Americans, and they account for roughly 43% of the U.S. GDP. So there is a push to figure out a transition plan so that the backbone of the American economy can remain strong.
Well, that is a big problem.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem. And one of the other things I think, Mark, that is a concern out of that, so many different businesses say, well, we want to pass it on to our kids, and kids aren't necessarily picking them up. That's one of the things we saw. We saw that with our previous radio station, where
Susquehanna,
where they wanted to pass it on to the children. Children said, we don't want anything to do with it. give us the buyout right now, and they pass it on to somebody else, and they ran it in the ground. So there you go. But yeah.
Which, by the way, not to rub salt in a wound or anything, but I don't know if you happen to notice, and not to talk about this on the air, but I don't know if you noticed Cumulus filed for what's it called? Chapter 11
Chapter
bankruptcy.
11 bankruptcy.
Yeah, last week.
So
they're waiting for that to be approved.
Yeah.
So that would be the second time in the last 5 years,
something like that. But the whole thing is this idea of a lot of these people who are business owners now going out at one time. It certainly does put a big glut or a big hole, if you will, in the U.S. economy. So we'll see. And does that mean then that the people who are coming in the generations following are not starting businesses, are not at the heads of businesses yet, or are they doing something different than
maybe they have
than
good
what we're
jobs.
doing? That's what I'm saying. But what kind of jobs are they? That's what I would be interested in knowing. What kind of jobs do they have where they're not really maybe employing as many people? I don't know. Because that was kind of the old model that you employed a lot of people in your factory or whatever. Well, a lot of places now are, Amazon and all these.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
One more story before the break. This one, I know you buy concert tickets, and I have in the last couple of years as well. And you always end up some form or another go through like Ticketmaster, and Live Nation owns them. And there has been a lawsuit, and apparently that is now settled.
The Department of Justice and a group of states have reached agreement with Live Nation, which also owns Ticketmaster, and faced monopoly charges. It prevents the breakup of Live Nation, which was accused of illegally inflating concert prices and harming artists. The deal makes it easier for other promoters to compete for business at amphitheaters and arenas that Live Nation controls. It restricts the company's ability to use exclusive ticketing contracts at venues, creating an opportunity for ticket sellers like SeatGeek and Eventbrite. The trial in the case was already underway. Ginny Coselda, Fox News.
And by the way, you probably heard this last few days, as there is a new leader of Iran now, which I'm not sure that's exactly a job you want anybody to know you have. Mujtaba Khamenei is the son of the father who was just killed there. And he is the new head of Iran, Iran's new supreme leader, and he's already a marked man. Israel has already threatened to kill whoever succeeded his father, Ali Khamenei, as Iran's preeminent power broker. Nor does the United States regard the 56-year-old as someone with whom it can do business. President Trump said in earlier interviews that Mujtaba Khamenei would be an unacceptable choice. So we'll see how long he stays in power. But it looks like Iran is kind of doubling down on what it wants to do here. I'm not sure, if I'd want to be known as the supreme leader at this particular time, but whatever.
Coming up after the break, there is I would call her iconic, okay? There is an iconic cartoon character. Now, I don't think I've ever heard her speak, but Disney is considering a live-action version of this iconic cartoon character, and it might be the last one left. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
We're going to find out about that when we come back, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. say I'm not going to sign anything else.
We're on the air. Do you know this guy? Does this sound like a hit record?
This guy used to be married to J-Lo, right?
Yep. Now it sounds like a hit record.
I like the Mark Anthony.
Yes, I Need to Know, huge hit in 1999.
Didn't you go to J-Lo right after Cleopatra?
You know,
or wrong Mark Anthony?
You know, I forget. It was a long time ago, and probably for the best.
He was also in a couple of movies. He was pretty good. Yeah, Mark Anthony. He was
talented guy.
Not bad. Not bad. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Have you ever gone to a wedding where you were there and you said, you know, this one's not going to last too long? You ever go to a wedding like that where I'm serious. I mean, really, the only thing worse than being invited to a wedding of people you barely know is being at the wedding and knowing that it's not going to last. Oh, and a cash bar. Okay, but well, someone on social media said, what's a wedding moment that screamed, they are not going to last that long? Hey, here are some of the responses. When the bride's parents' speech included the note about the groom, you weren't who we envisioned for our daughter, and you have children together. But you have children together. The groom's mom kissed the groom on the lips for a while the bride stood next to them awkwardly.
Oh, no.
And no, this was not a regional tradition. Or, for example, these were all responses. I'm a wedding photographer, and I'd say the intensity that a bride and the groom shove cake in each other's mouth correlates to how long they're going to last.
I don't understand.
I never got that.
Me neither. It doesn't make any. I mean, it's supposed to be funny, but you're messing each other's faces.
No,
up.
you don't do it. You're all dressed up nice.
Exactly.
There you go. The groom got super drunk to the point of passing out. Not a good sign at a wedding.
Big trouble coming.
The bride slept with the best man because the groom had already passed out. The person added. They lasted a year. Groom never found out. The bride wanted to invite only part of the groom's family. Her family all got invites. A lot of people sometimes mention the dynamics of who got invited.
Right.
A long list of marriages for both, like a time when the bride announced, it's my fourth marriage and his fifth. It took us a while to find each other, but it was worth the wait. Mm-hmm. They lasted less than 6 months.
Wow.
Arguing at the rehearsal dinner. They lasted a few weeks. The couple had a unity candle, but it just wouldn't light. They had a who knows their partner better game, and they both failed every question, even the dog's name. Entered the reception to November Rain. You know, nothing lasts forever, and we both know hearts can change, done within the year. When the groom mentioned something about the bride's stinky farts in the vows, I was the bride, not good. The bride or groom complains about some aspect of the wedding at the reception and says, things are going to be different at my next wedding. It's not a good sign for staying together. No.
So let me bring up another story before I get to the live animation.
Yes.
Actually going from animation to live action at Disney for a particular character. You may have heard that Australia, I think they ban social media for teenagers. Mm-hmm. Okay. And now... And I think you support, I don't know if you support that, but you don't like cell phones in schools, that kind of thing.
No, I don't, no.
So here's an idea, but they want to go a little step further.
Okay.
Because I think most of us agree that, a little bit goes a long way on social media, and there is such a thing as too much. And, here's what they're thinking about doing in Australia.
Australians must now prove they're over 18 before they can see pornography online or play R-rated games. Australia's e-safety commissioner says the change is needed to protect children. According to her research, about a third of 10 to 17-year-olds have seen sexual images or videos online. Last year, Australia banned anyone under 16 from most social media platforms. Facial recognition, digital IDs and credit card details can all be used as part of the age checks. Some cybersecurity experts predict the new law will be pretty easy for tech-savvy teens to get around. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
I don't know if I like intertwining social media with pornography.
What if Jonathan Savage plays bagpipes? He's got that Scottish accent. Here's one for you, Mark.
Okay.
Try this on. Is cereal getting so expensive that thieves are going to start searching pantries before jewelry boxes?
That's interesting.
I offer this because a woman in Missouri named Tara Smith was arrested last week. Are you ready for this? After she allegedly broke into a home and started eating Fruity Pebbles in the kitchen. The cereal, Fruity Pebbles.
Right, yeah.
The family was home at the time.
Oh, my.
A woman says her son smelled something burning, so she walked downstairs to the kitchen, and that's when she saw the strange lady eating Fruity Pebbles and petting the family dog. So far, booze has not been included, or drugs. The oven was also on, so maybe that's where the smell was coming from. So why would the oven be on? She's eating Fruity Pebbles, petting the dog. The son ran and told his mom, who called 911. The mother also confronted Tara and demanded that she clean up the mess she made. That seems like an odd request, but Fruity Pebbles and milk were scattered everywhere. The police arrived and determined that Tara was, here we go, on something. She later told them she consumed a bottle of marijuana and was walking around outside and mistook the house for a fair. She was charged with first-degree burglary. There you go.
Well,
I was going to say, was she casing it out for weeks before I found out she was on something to see if there were Fruity Pebbles? Maybe they were doing cornflakes. Maybe they switched over to Fruity Pebbles then, and she could case it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that the cost is right. That, some of them can be very expensive.
Oh yeah.
Compared to the old days.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it. Disney has identified yet another iconic character in their stable of cartoon characters, and another one that they want to this time turn into a live action. Do you have any ideas what it could be?
No.
Yeah, when I heard this, I thought, I didn't think she spoke.
Disney's iconic fairy Tinkerbell from Peter Pan is getting her own live action series. According to Deadline, the project called Tink has been in development for years. It was last announced in 2015 as a feature film with Reese Witherspoon attached as star. Tinkerbell first appeared in Disney's 1953 animated film Peter Pan and has appeared in countless movies and series over the past 70 years. The pocket-sized fairy, created by J.M. Barrie, is best known as Peter Pan's companion, though she also envies new Neverland arrival Wendy Darling. Following the 1953 film, Tinkerbell became an unofficial Disney mascot, sparkling across the intros for Disney's TV shows and home video releases. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
You remember the song, When You Wish Upon a Star? Yeah, then there was Tinkerbell flying around. So we finally have to put Tinkerbell in. Wonder what she'll say. Wonder what kind of voice she'll have.
I know. I mean, live action? Is that?
It'd be great if you gave her like a bass voice. It would really be cool. Hey, you. Yeah. Your mama. Yeah, do a little like exorcism voice or something in there. I don't know. That's wrong to think that of Tinkerbell. It'd be a cute little, it'd be a little voice like that, I guess. I don't know.
What's next hour?
James Sanders, our business blogger, is up next. See, when we're allowed to think on this show and get into trouble, and he's going to talk about the Burger King president who took a bite out of McDonald's. That's going to be his article that he shares with us this morning. And then you're going to have Trish Hauser in here this morning. Sarah O'Brien from downtown York joins us today to tell us about that. Mike White from the YMCA tells us about their nonprofit as we start to look at some of the nonprofits leading up to the big give in Give Local York. All of that straight ahead. And that's just the next hour right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK where we take a break. It is 7 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good. I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And that's our job, is to make you stop and look around and listen and think about some of the things that are happening today. You know, take your time, get up whatever time you want to, tune in to us. By the way, if you do not get up early, but you want to hear the earlier parts of the show, go to our podcast later on today at YouTube. Just put in WOYK on YouTube, and you'll have our entire show. And you can listen to it then. We love the people who are getting up and listening to it right now. But if you missed a part of it, you said, I can't make it through the day without this, then you would be able to go to WOYK on YouTube and say, now the day is complete. Now there is peace in my life. I'm Gary Sutton, and welcome to the Main Street of York, York County. Mark McKenzie with you this morning. All brought to you by presenting sponsors, kindnessworldwide.org. And what are you going to do today to bring more kindness into your sphere of influence, whatever it might be? Your friends, your church, your school, your place of business, whatever it might be. Check them out at kindnessworldwide.org. And Anstein and Sparler, attorneys at law, 117 East Market Street right here in York, where their primary areas of focus are things like estate planning and family law and estate administration and elder law, municipal law, even military law, where Andy Harrell gets into that. You heard him talk about that yesterday. 117 East Market Street. You can give them a call today at 717-846-8811. That's 717-846-8811. People in the main streets of York County sometimes need legal representation. They need some help. And there is Anstein and Sparler ready to help you. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5, and have been around since 1937, doing a great job for the people of York County. And they continue to do that now. And I hope you will take advantage of the chance to use them whenever you need some kind of legal help, legal representation, help with your estate planning, whatever it might be. It's not always just about going to court. It's about legal help where things are needed like that. And I'm one of those that knows enough to know what I don't know. All right, and I head to Anstein and Sparler, attorneys at law, and you can too. And, of course, the Back 9 text line is available for you throughout the show. We encourage you to text us throughout the show and let us know what you're thinking about each of the segments. We'd like to hear that. We'd like feedback. We will get back to you. 833-478-4729, the Back 9 text line, Back 9 being the premier golf installation here in York County that's indoors now. A great chance, if you get too hot outside, head indoors where it's nice and cool and temperature controlled. Watch the game on TV while you're doing your stuff there on the screen. And they are located at theback9.com/York-PA, right out there at South York Plaza, 259A Pauline Drive. And don't forget, also, you can answer our questions every day at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. And we're right here on the air at 98.9 FM and 1350 AM WOYK. With all of that having been said, I do want to remind you that this hour of the Gary Sutton Show is brought to you by Trish Hauser. Yeah, Trish is just a fantastic person. She's a State Farm insurance agent, and she is ready to help you today. And she'll be talking to us a little bit later on this hour, but she's a State Farm insurance agent right out there at 1865 North Susquehanna Trail in York, specializing in coverage for cars, homes, and life, as well as renters policies. Give her a call today at 717-848-4336. That's 717-848-4336. Open 9 to 5, but she does operate as well by appointment, and you can go to trishhauser.com. Trish Hauser, HOWSER.com, and see all the various things that she is involved with. And with that having been said, we turn right now to James Sanders, who is our business blogger here on WOYK every Tuesday morning, whether he likes it or not. And this morning he's got a really interesting article that he put out there. I'm saying these wars have got to end. And, of course, I'm talking about the burger wars.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go, the burger wars. But the Burger King president apparently getting the best of McDonald's. Tell us what's going on in this article. Good morning, James.
And good morning. And this one's in honor of Mark. I know he's a big foodie. So I was happy to bring two iconic food hamburgers to the show this morning.
Yes,
but,
yes.
This caught my eye. We've been talking about AI for so many weeks here, and how the digital generation. Humans are going to be replaced, and we're just going to be dealing with computers and technology moving forward. Well, the reason this caught my eye, number one, it's nostalgic, right? It brings back the Pepsi Coke wars. You've got the Whopper versus the Big Mac. You name it. Like, this is what I remember growing up as a kid. Which one was better? Well, these two guys are going at it. And you've got the Whopper guy, this Tom Curtis, basically rip it into a Whopper and thoroughly enjoying it, and really having that human connection, versus the McDonald's CEO, who we talked about several weeks ago, who had some really good words of wisdom for the younger generation, but really didn't look as comfortable chewing it or enjoying his Big Mac.
Yeah.
It's important to me that you kind of see this bubbling up and being put forth to the public, because as you read through the article, what it says in there is that the CEO of Burger King came up from the ground up. He started in Domino's. He graduated from Emory University, but worked his way up through Domino's, delivering pizzas and working in the stores, and ultimately getting moved over and getting hired by Burger King, where he felt it was important, and he emphasizes to his staff, it's important to get out there and talk to people.
Yeah.
And actually get their feedback. And in fact, what he's done is he's given out his business cell phone number and takes text messages and phone calls from customers and responds to them.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. You're actually talking to a human being, not just a human being, the CEO of Burger King. And he's actually responding to you and changing things. Like, wow, what a novel concept.
So you got this Tom Curtis, who's the head of Burger King, and you got this guy, Chris Kempczynski, who's the head of McDonald's. So you have these two pictures juxtaposed to each other. So here's Kempczynski, and I'm just going to describe it, looking at the Big Mac saying, what the hell is this? He's looking at it like, I've never seen this before. This is and he's got fries in front of him, and he's wearing a sweater and a pullover golf shirt like a regular guy, which he obviously is not. And then on the other side, you got this guy, Curtis, who is getting ready to go into a Whopper like, man, I can't wait to get my mouth in this thing. And he's got on like a rolled-up sleeve shirt. He looks like a work guy. He's got a thing on there that says doing this since 1954. I mean, he looks like he has some experience with that. So it's amazing what you can do with these two photos. The one guy looks like, what's this? Oh, this is what we sell. Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's swell. Yeah, it really tastes good. Dear occupant. On the other side, you got this guy that says, man, let's sit down and have a Whopper together, and how's your day going and all that. So, yeah, there is something to be said about the attitude here, right?
Oh, it's 100%. And I've said this, and we've talked about this on numerous programs. The human interaction, the human element is so critical. I don't care how much people think AI is going to take over society. If you don't have a human connection, people aren't going to connect with your product or your service. This guy is hitting the nail on the head. He absolutely is saying, I've eaten Whoppers, I've grown up eating Whoppers, and I'm going to continue eating Whoppers. I enjoy them. And by the way, if you're like me, you're going to enjoy them too. And people will connect with that. The McDonald's stuff, I don't know. I mean, they need to get somebody else eating a Whopper out there. Not a Whopper, a Big Mac.
I saw where this Curtis guy worked his way up through several Domino's in Atlanta. And then in 87, he struck out in his own franchise in New Haven, Connecticut. He joined the company's corporate operations in 2006. By 2020, was leading Domino's U.S. restaurant operations. And Burger King was struggling then. So in 2021, it recruited this guy, Curtis, to come over from Domino's to lead its American operations. And after decades of being the second biggest U.S. burger chain by sales behind McDonald's, it had just been surpassed by Wendy's, as well as chicken sandwich kingpin Chick-fil-A. And according to market research firm Technomic, So to fix the change, parent company, Restaurant Brands International, installed new executives to overhaul operations. And apparently that's why this guy Curtis is there now to jump ahead. And, we're going to see what happens. But, it's amazing. It was interesting. Curtis toured U.S. Burger Kings. And it said many looked dated, hard to make menu items, gummed up operations. Part of his answer was streamlining and simplifying. So a hand-breaded chicken sandwich was dropped, and the chain standardized processes so cheese was layered onto all the chain's burgers the same way. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. And if you remember, Burger King had that freaky-looking, the Burger King with the head the last couple of years. Like
creepy.
I don't know who was running marketing at that point in time, but like that didn't entice me to say, oh, man, I got to go get a Whopper or the chicken fries or whatever else. But what this guy's doing is actually, voila, going out and listening to the public. Like, what do they want? Like, what a novel concept here.
Yeah.
And do I think that he's going to, somehow race ahead and go catch McDonald's? No. I mean, they're a little less than half the size of McDonald's. But do I think that they're going to reassert themselves over time if you've got somebody like this leading it and implementing their marketing strategies? Yeah, I do. I think they're gonna push back on the Chick-fil-A's and the Wendy's and the Subways of the world.
It was interesting. He said he's only about halfway through making the changes so far, so I don't know what other changes he's going to make. But and he said he's got about putting his name out there, the text, but he's got about 20,000 calls and texts come in so far. Some question whether they really had the president on the line. He said, "Let me check my driver's license real quick." He told one person in a post, but one of the things just brought up Chick-fil-A. What are they doing? I mean, if I were anywhere in the sandwich business, I would be going down and sitting down and figuring out what the heck it is that Chick-fil-A is doing. I try and go around a Chick-fil-A here in town anywhere you go, they're lined up out there. Is that sandwich that good? I've had their sandwiches. They have good chicken sandwiches. But is it that good that I wouldn't sit in lines to see me. I mean, I'm looking at the lines that are lined up around the corner, and I'm thinking, what is going on? What makes that such a desirable thing? And if I were Burger King or McDonald's or anybody, I'd want to know what's going on there. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I absolutely look, they're efficient. There's a perception that it's freshly made, which it is.
It is, yeah.
I mean, it definitely is. I mean, you could see they're back there getting the chicken prepared. The people are friendly. You
got people outside taking your orders in all kinds of weather. What are you doing? And then you got someone who checks your order about 3/4 of the way through. Then you pull into the front and they walk out through a door and hand it to you. And it's really it's a phenomenon to me. I'm amazed.
It is. And the other thing, it's always clean.
Yes, it is.
It's constantly clean. I mean, again, it's the human element, it's the speed, it's the quality of the food, the consistency of the food. They really understand. They're making a chicken sandwich.
Right.
They're absolutely making a chicken sandwich, and I'm sure that the local owners of the Chick-fil-A on East Market are not going to be happy with me saying that that's the chicken sandwich. But at the end of the day, it is just
a chicken sandwich. Yeah.
But they do it and they provide it in an excellent manner, an efficient manner, and a consistent manner. And that's what people like. Burger King, they fell off by the wayside over time. McDonald's, it's kind of the same thing. They just kind of, they went off the radar or started marketing and doing things that weren't necessarily as it didn't have the human element to it or the consistency to it. And I think that's what this guy at Burger King's doing. He's saying, we've turned our backs on our customers and have stopped listening to our customers, and we've gotten away from what our core business is, and we got to get back to that. And that's why he's tearing into a Whopper and clearly enjoying it.
And I'm as interested in it as the guy that's pulling up to my drive-in every day. So with this guy Curtis, might be on to something. We'll see. But like I said, I would be copying Chick-fil-A on what they're doing to get the total experience through there in terms of having great food as well. Hey, great stuff this morning, James. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful article. I'm going to go back and read it again. I just read through it a little while ago, but I always find I get a few extra McNuggets when I read through a second time. That was cheap on my part.
Put up
Thank you. Ba-doom.
Go get a Whopper today.
Thank you very much. Have a great week, my friend. I'll catch you next Tuesday, all right? Yeah.
Bye-bye.
James Sanders right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. When we get back, Trish Hauser checks in. She's always staying out in front of questions. I don't know if she has any questions about the lines at Chick-fil-A, but she's got a lot more for us. Straight ahead, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 7:19.
Fox Sports Update.
He's on his way to another MVP award.
SGA with 5. SGA step back 3. He's got it! 2.7 left. OKC by 3. Gordon the heave. No!
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander delivering in an MVP showdown, swishing a winning step-back three-pointer with just 3.3 seconds remaining on the clock to lift the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder to a 129-126 victory over the Denver Nuggets. SGA's final line on the night, 35 points, a career-high 15 assists, and no turnovers. Wow. Other games on the hardwood, the Cavaliers beat the Sixers 115-101. The Nets over the Grizzlies 126-115. The Jazz knocked off the Warriors 119-116. And the Knicks completed the sweep. They lost to both the Clippers and the Lakers. The Clippers beat the Knicks last night 126-118. At the World Baseball Classic, Team USA, they beat Mexico 5-3 behind home runs from Aaron Judge and Roman Anthony. Next up, Italy tonight in Houston. Team USA looking for a spot in the quarterfinals. Other winners last night, Puerto Rico over Cuba 4-1. Venezuela blanked Nicaragua 4-0. And just underway right now, bottom of the second inning, they are scoreless between Czechia and Japan. On the ice in the National Hockey League, the winners, the Kings, Capitals, Rangers, Blackhawks, and Senators. Top 25 college basketball, 12th ranked Gonzaga beat Oregon State, and Santa Clara upset number 21 St. Mary's. So those two teams will meet in the WCC final. Two more schools, meanwhile, earning automatic NCAA bids. Furman and Troy will be dancing. And from the NFL, one day after being cut by the Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa signing a one-year deal to quarterback the Falcons. For more scores, stories, and features, head on over to foxsports.com. I'm Frank Lanza.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, where we have Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance agent, with us. They're the sponsors of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show. Of course, Trish right out there at 1865 North Susquehanna Trail right here in York, and she is the answer lady, really. When it comes to cars, homes, life, as well as renters policies, call her today at 717-848-4336, open 9 to 5 every single day, but always a joy to have her on here on a Tuesday morning. And Trish, ready with the answers this morning. But a really interesting topic today on, can someone else drive my car? Good morning, Trish. How are you?
Good morning. Well, that is a very interesting topic, and it can get very heated because when first off, you have to remember who's the named insured. For example, whose name is on the policy? Is it you and Deb, or is it just you alone?
Yeah.
Because the name insured is the one that is going to give permission. And there are a lot of times where someone says they want to borrow your car, and sometimes you're hesitant, sometimes you're not. It might be the babysitter to drive the kids to swimming. Maybe a friend needs to borrow your car to get to work because theirs broke down, or your neighbor, your brother-in-law, or your sister-in-law, or your brother or sister, friend. And the other thing is, you have to remember the name insured is the one that has to give permission whenever someone is asked to drive that car. So you want to think long and hard. And I'll just give you a quick example where a teenager may let someone borrow the car, one of their friends, but they're not the named insured. Their parents are.
Right.
And the car is totaled, but the parents didn't give permission.
I tell you what, that's a tricky thing, because you say, well, you want to be nice to somebody. Here, I got an extra car, I can help you out for a couple of days. But you don't think about that insurance end, and that is a very important part to think about, because you're really putting yourself on the line.
You do, and you really need to also, you may not know whether or not that person has a bad driving record, you know, rolling stop signs, going through red lights. And each insurance company is different. You know, you really need to call and find out, does that person need to be added to my policy? And a lot of times they're going to be driving for an extensive period, where we have people that drive their parents' cars to doctor's appointments and things like that. You know, they're added. But they need to have a legal driver's license. And, you know, they also need to make sure, and I can't tell you how important it is, that they are responsible. You know, not like getting a cup of sugar. You want to make sure, because the insurance company can deny the claim.
Yeah.
If you haven't been upfront with them.
Whose insurance will cover the damages in a situation where even if the person is driving your car has their own insurance, your insurance will be the primary payer for damages, right?
Your insurance is the primary payer, and also if someone else is injured, they can come back and sue you through your policy.
Now, how do
that's something else.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Trish. That something we ought to be thinking about there. Even if the other person has insurance, it's your insurance on your car. They're really what we're talking about here. But how do you know? I mean, a good rule of thumb for a lot of us that don't know this stuff. How do you know what is covered? How do you get into that? Is that where they give you a call, or they look over their policy pretty carefully? Because I know you look over them as carefully as anyone I've ever met.
They definitely want to call their agent because I'm sure each company is going to be different, maybe with their rules and regulations. But they definitely want to talk to their agent and just let them know or give them a heads up. And they also want to remind their children, hey, your friend cannot drive this car unless I give permission.
Exactly.
Because I can't tell you how many times that's happened.
And you may say that more than once or twice to your child at that particular time. You're a young adult, which I'm sure we've all gone through. But, Trish, that's a great piece of advice this morning. Now, next week, what are we hitting? We're hitting a really interesting topic next week, too, like how long can your kids stay on your insurance, right?
Yes. How long can your kids stay on the parents' insurance? So that's going to be a whole nother topic for young adults.
Right. Oh, my. I can't wait to hear that one next week. But you always hit such great topics, and I really appreciate it. I learned so much each week. People can learn from you, too, if they're looking to get some of these things answered right now, and you don't have a good insurance agent. I'll tell you what, you can't do better than Trish Hauser, who has the answers. And she's proactive and preventative, and her insurance agency covers this coverage for cars and homes and life and renters policies and all kinds of stuff. 1865 North Susquehanna Trail right here in York. Give her a call today at 717-848-4336. She's very nice. She will even make appointments with you now and then. But the hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. Trish, great stuff this morning. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful week.
I hope you do, too, and I'm sure a great golf game.
I've been getting out a couple days, a couple hours, sneaking out. Yes, I'm trying to do that, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next Tuesday morning. We find out about how long we can stay on those policies, right? Oh, can't wait to hear that one. Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, right here on the Gary Sutton Show, and sponsor of this hour, right here on WOYK. We will take a break, and when we come back, we're going to meet Sarah O'Brien from downtown York. What all are they into? We'll find out right around the corner, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Just a little easygoing music coming back, huh?
Sugar Ray, Someday.
Someday.
Yeah.
When my life has
Kind of a little bit of a relaxing sound coming back. Yeah.
lay around and wonder why
It'd be nice if the guy could sing, but, you know, that's... oh, well.
Is it on the list?
No, the song's too good to allow him to ruin it.
I see.
Because, I mean, he can't sing, but the music is kind of cool.
It's very easygoing, but steady.
Yeah, I like that, yeah. And occasionally he ruins it by singing, but, you know, it's overall, it's good. See the open-mindedness here? You see the expanding my horizons?
I try every day.
Now, the chorus is good. The chorus, but he's not singing during that time.
Oh, yeah.
He was singing, but he's drowned it out by the good singers. Yeah. See, here he comes. Wonder how they decided to make him the lead.
They had a very good year in 1999, which is where we're doing.
There you go.
Bumper today.
By the way, I do want to remind people that, the road salt is still on the roads, even though it's getting warmer, but warmer days make it easier to clean it off. By the way, I always think I'm going to be the first one to the cleaning, to the drive-in. No, a lot of people are getting a good wash right now, especially underneath their car, which helps prevent rust. So if you want to inspect the underside of or recommend protection, visit Jack G. and Balvo family of dealerships right now. They have 6 great locations to stop by and check the underneath part of your vehicle and make sure that the salt hasn't, corroded stuff or got in there. And if you're ready for that new ride right now, hey, guess what? Tax refund season is getting in here. And that refund could be the perfect way to upgrade your vehicle. Jack G. and Balvo has you covered with hundreds of pre-owned vehicles across the York and the Hanover area, from SUVs to trucks to sedans, imports, and domestics. They've got it all for you right now. And if you want it, chances are they've got it. Shopping at G. and Balvo is hassle-free, pressure-free, just great vehicles, great people, a smooth buying experience from the moment you walk in. Plus, your first oil change is on them. All the brands you love, all the choices you need, backed by over 50 years of Jack G. and Balvo's name serving York and the Hanover community. Jack G. and Balvo is ready to help you today. Start your search anytime, 24/7 at gmbalvo.preownedinventory.com. That's gmbalvo.preownedinventory.com. Jack G. and Balvo, family of dealerships. Turn your tax refund into your next ride and experience the G. and Balvo difference today and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. With that, we turn this morning to Sarah O'Brien from downtown York. And any of you have ever seen the Downtown York magazine and you hear about downtown York all the time, downtown is the mascot out here at our stadium. Good morning, Sarah. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I am doing wonderful, Gary. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Well, Sarah, it's an honor to have you aboard this morning. And you do so much, you and people at downtown York, for our community. But you highlight the idea of downtown York. Mark and I are so proud to be doing our show from downtown York right now. We thought you were a natural fit for this morning. Tell us a little bit all about downtown York and what you're doing right now, or what you're trying to do in promoting the York community.
Absolutely, Gary. I would love to. We live and breathe downtown York, and it's really a special place to so many people who live, work, and visit there, and we're so thankful that the Gary Sutton Show broadcasts live from there. For those of you that aren't familiar with Downtown Inc., our organization, we are the City of York's Main Street program. Mm-hmm. So we work to encourage, enhance, and drive investment in the historic downtown district through a variety of promotions and marketing of both the district as a whole and our small business community, as well as we do a variety of placemaking projects. So we have a clean and green team downtown 5 days a week, cleaning up streets. We dabble in public art and creative crosswalks, even the non-sexy stuff like lighting, doing an audit on street lights in downtown York to make sure they're lit up for everybody. Of course, economic development is near and dear to our heart. We're part of the York County Economic Alliance, so we drive large investment projects like the Cadorus Creek Beautification Project or the completed Yorktown Hotel Project, as well as a ton of business recruitment and retention. We have our Bloom Business Empowerment Center where we offer grants and loans and various small business training programs, as well as new campaigns that we're running, like our Imagine the Possibilities vacant property marketing campaign or our Why York downtown investment guide. We've had, I think, about 12 new or expanded businesses open up in the last 100 days in downtown York. And then our fourth kind of pillar of our work is public safety. So we actually share office space with the York City Police Department downtown. And when I get off this call, I'll be headed to Prince Street Cafe for coffee with a cop this morning. So
a great place, by the way, to hang out, the Prince Street Cafe.
Absolutely, yep. The living room in downtown York. So we're gearing up this weekend for a great day in downtown York. The York St. Patrick's Day Parade is this Saturday. Steps off at 1 p.m. It's the 40th annual. And then we've got a variety of events and activities coming up. The weather is gorgeous. Spring is here. So we're looking forward to our Spring Sip and Savor event on March 28th and our Go Green in the City Sustainability Festival on April 18th.
Sarah, one of the things that has happened over the years, when I was a kid growing up back in the 1800s, no, actually it was a little later than that, but in the early 1960s and into very early 1970s, York was the center of where you went. I lived out in Manchester. And, that 5 miles from York seemed like, if I took a trip into town, it was a big deal. I went there to get my clothing. I went there to get entertainment, went there to go to the theater. York was it. And then everything moved out to the malls and out to the suburbs and all that. Some of the tax base moved out, industry moved out into the industrial parks. We saw a lot of big changes. And for a while there, it was like York wasn't sure what it wanted to be again when it grew up. Although it had been, a city, and there were many cities across the country experienced exactly the same thing that York did. Now it looks to me like downtown York is trying to bring back an identity. I mean, trying to bring back getting storefronts filled again. We're getting a lot more restaurants coming back in, boutique shops, things like that. And York seems to be getting an identity again as a place where you come, like, for example, here for baseball or to the Appel Center or to the Yorktown, places like that. And I know downtown York is spearheading a lot of that right now, along with the York County Economic Alliance.
Absolutely. And York is not individual in that aspect. With the onset of the automobiles and the post-World War II era, people started to depart from the heart and soul of their cities and moved out into the suburbs and started shopping at strip shopping centers and malls.
Right.
And downtown revitalization as a field of work really began in the early 1980s through Main Street America. And so we actually, for the first time since 2013, received accreditation for Main Street America and the Pennsylvania Downtown Center this summer. So York City is following all of the best practices to downtown revitalization at a national level. Just this summer, we had 2 really special nods. Reader's Digest named us the top 20 most beautiful Main Street, and HGTV named us one of the most charming small towns in America.
I saw that, yeah.
The work at Downtown Inc., we have been around in some iteration of our soul since 1998 with Main Street York, and we merged with the York Business Improvement District Authority, which we manage on behalf of the city of York. Downtown revitalization is a long game. I tell people all the time it doesn't happen overnight, but we are just really excited about all of the opportunities in downtown York right now and the synergy between the public and private stakeholders. Our small business community is just tremendous. They are so supportive of one another. And York City is just a great place to be right now. And so we're excited about the future and really hopeful that, this is our time to shine. I think we get compared a lot to our neighbors across the river on a regular basis, and we just want to be the best York City that we can be.
Right.
And we have such beautiful architecture and amazing people, and we're just really excited to show it all off this spring and summer once again.
I love the architecture. I am an architectural freak when it comes to walking around, like the Dempwolf buildings and things like that. I'm walking around looking at different things in New York. And I oftentimes say to my wife, I bet you that house was just, I'd love to know how that got started and what happened in there. And, we have a lot of really neat architecture around York when you really stop to look at it. But there's a lot of hidden gems. And I know that's one of the things that downtown York tries to do is bring out some of the hidden gems of our community. You mentioned this morning about going to the Princess Street Cafe. We got a new candy shop right there off the square that I have not been in yet.
Joe's.
Yes.
Gary, you are missing out. Grandpa Joe's is an amazing experience. And just a small story. So Grandpa Joe's is actually a small regional chain.
Okay.
I think they have like 23 stores across the country.
Wow.
They just recently opened one up in Texas. And when I talked to Chris, the owner, a few months ago, I asked him, I said, why York? And he said he had been following us online for years and was just really impressed with everything that we have going on and wanted to be in York City. And that location on the square is just transformative for the area as a whole. We're always looking for additional family-friendly, fun activities for the kiddos, and so Grandpa Joe's has just been such a great fit. We'll actually be featuring them on our March 28th Sip and Savor event.
Okay.
Which is a curated tour of downtown York. It is a fundraiser for our organization. We are a nonprofit. The tickets are affordable. We typically have about 150 attendees, and they go in groups with one of our downtown ambassadors who know all the secrets and hidden gems. And so we've got 6 different stops on there: Grandpa Joe's, Men in the Kitchen, Split Shift, Nassim's, which is a new little bakery that just opened up in Royal Square, the Camera Center on Beaver Street, and then Murphy and Denton Hafer's office on West Market Street, which is just, it's one of the best views in town right along the Cadorus Creek. And so we're so excited to be able to show that to the public because you don't often get a chance to pop in there and see those kinds of things.
My dream is seeing someone reopen the waterway sometime soon. That's my.
Me too.
Are you there with me on that?
I am there with you. It is the only waterfront property in York City. And we're working on phase 1 of the $50 million Cadorus Greenway beautification project, where we're going to be putting pedestrian access all along the creek. And so now is the time to invest. So if you're interested in opening up a restaurant and dining with a beautiful view of the Cadorus, you just give me a call and we'll get you taken care of.
There you go. Sarah is ready to help you right now. I talk about enthusiasm, Downtown York Magazine, but Downtown York is getting it done. Check them out at downtownyorkpa.com. Sarah, it has been a joy having you on this morning. We can't let it go that long before the next time, okay?
Okay, fantastic, Gary. Have a great day.
And I'll see you at the candy store, all right?
We'll
Take care.
see you at Grandpa Joe's. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sarah. Take care. Sarah O'Brien here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Check out downtownyorkpa.com. When we come back, Mike White joins us to tell us about the York YMCA. York and Lancaster YMCA. Mike is the new head of that, and he's going to get into all that for us as we take a look at our nonprofits as part of Give Local York's build up to the big day coming up in May. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK on a Tuesday morning. I am Gary Sutton. It's 7:52, and I am so honored to bring in a guy I met some time ago on the golf course, actually, of all places, I think over in Lancaster. He's here this morning now as the new executive director of the YMCA of the Roses here, both of York and Lancaster. And he is Mike White. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing good, Gary. Thanks for having me this morning.
Well, Mike, of course, one of the many nonprofits that are operating here is Give Local York, and we're leading up to the Big Give Day coming up there in May. But, Mike, I wanted people to know a little bit about what the YMCA does, because there's so many things here in York, and I dare say in Lancaster as well, but we're focused on York for the most part, of things that are going on. The YMCA, I know how it originally started, but, man, it has blossomed out into so many other things since then. Tell us a little bit about the YMCA.
Absolutely, Gary. Appreciate you asking. Certainly, most people think of the YMCA as just a gym and a place to swim, but as you mentioned, we're certainly a lot more than that. You know, our mission is to put Christian principles into practice that through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. Mm-hmm. And there's not many places in York, every single day, Gary, that people are getting served. Kids are being served. Families are being served. We're serving seniors and veterans, people facing housing insecurities. But we're a lot more than just a gym. We really are about strengthening communities.
You know, I remember when I was a kid, one of the things you could get was a membership to come here and swim. And I remember the old Nut League in there where people would in and watch basketball. That's where I first got my love of basketball, was going in and watching basketball at the YMCA. But there's a lot more going on there right now as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, most people don't realize all that's going on, you know, under the roof at the YMCA. Each and every day we have housing programs, we have youth development programs. You know, we're doing Y Achievers and youth and government and college and career prep. We have the Temple Guard drill team. We have Young Thinkers of York. Of course, we have a men's residence where we have 105 formerly homeless men that live there each and every day. Over in Lancaster, we're operating a low-barrier homelessness shelter every night from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. that serves 85 individuals. And then we have a sister company that's providing housing, affordable housing opportunities to more than 100 housing units throughout the community as well.
I know you've galvanized into the Roses, and again, if people want to find you right now, go to rosesymca.org. And I know that you're working together a lot with Lancaster and York across the river, so there is a hand uniting kind of thing going on there as well, right?
Absolutely. If you think back in history to the 15th century in England, you had the War of the Roses, yes. the red rose versus the white rose. And, of course, they united through, a marriage, if you will. Man and a woman came together, and that's kind of the way that we feel the same way about serving York and Lancaster. Two roses coming together for the greater good of the community.
A lot of different things going on there. You talked about classes. If you go to rosesymca.org, you can find out where you can search various programs that you have, the memberships, and also the classes. Tell me a little bit about some of the classes that are going on there right now, Mike.
Yeah, we're operating classes, not exactly sure how many every day, but these are all classes designed to help people of all ages. You know, we have actor, older adult classes, silver sneakers, as many people might reference them. Of course, we have yoga and Pilates and HIIT classes, you know, the high intensity stuff, a lot of Les Mills programming at all of our locations.
Cardio cross training, active older adults, boom, move it and muscle. Child watch, you've got rotating instructors on that. You've got all kinds of things going on there that really are outstanding. Group cycle, different things like that. So, you know, when you think about the YMCA as being a one-stop shop for a lot of things going on, it really is.
Absolutely. Our new tagline is "There's no place like this place, Gary," and we really believe that on any given day. There's no place in any community that's doing as much as we're doing. Again, from serving kids and families, you know, providing childcare outlets. You know, you hear stories all the time about how parents feel comfortable dropping their kids off with us so they can go focus on work for the day. So their needs are being met, and we really are strengthening communities through all that we do.
Mike, when you have so much that you're kind of biting off here, and the YMCA does reach higher than their grasp and does a great job at doing that, what are some of the biggest needs, though, that as people are starting to look at where they're going to go for the big give as we lead up to that, what are some of the biggest needs that you find you have right now with the YMCA?
Yeah, all of our programs, we want to be accessible to all people in our community, Gary. There's nothing, we don't want to turn anyone away, sure. Regardless of their ability to pay. So all the money that we raise through Give Local York is going to go to support kids and families who can't afford our services, whether it's scholarships for membership, participating in our child care programs. We're doing camp scholarships as camps rolling out this spring into the summer season. Of course, we do safety around water programs. Some of the funds go to support, kids learning how to swim and being safe around open bodies of water. But really, it is about making sure that all of our programs are accessible to the communities that we serve.
Mike, as the new executive director, what's the biggest thing you found out about the YMCA that maybe you'd say, I didn't know as much about that, even as a guy was learning about this, you've been around it for a while, but you're the executive director, you say, wow, we're really pretty good at this.
Absolutely. Really, it's been a learning process for me. I've been with the organization now going into my 9th year.
Yeah.
And each and every day in this new seat, it's a different lens and it's a different view of the organization. And we do a lot of really great things across the communities that we serve. I think the best thing that we do is we just continue to respond to community needs. I know we're talking about York, but like I said, in Lancaster, where we're running the low barrier shelter, no one else wanted to do that. Someone needed to run that shelter, and we were able to step up to the plate to deliver those services. So, that's really what we do. It's about serving the community.
Well, I hope people will keep you in mind for the big give coming up there in May. Obviously, you're one of the great nonprofits that's going on out there. And sometimes, as I said, with the YMCA, we just kind of take it for granted because we've heard it so long. And yet at the same time, you're always doing unique things. You're always finding new needs in the community. And we really appreciate what you're doing, Mike. Thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
And again, go to rosesymca.org right now. Rosesymca.org right now and find out about all they do. There are so many different things. And Mike White, the new executive director, great to have him stopping by here today on the Gary Sutton Show. Do want to remind you that this hour has been brought to you by Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, right down there. It's 1865 North Susquehanna Trail in York. And she is ready to help you right now with all of your insurance needs out there. 717-848-4336. Check her out at trishhauser.com. And she is the answer lady. She'll keep you out in front of the problems. Proactive, preventative. That's Trish Hauser. Open 9 to 5 every single day and ready to help you with your insurance needs when it comes to renter's insurance, car insurance, all those kinds of things. She is right there for you. Coming up at 8:05, Dan Lentz, captain of the York City Police, will tell us about dealing with mental health kinds of situations in terms of policing and maybe a little bit more about mental health for the police that are out there serving you. And then Eugenia Pasquale at 8:35, as we talk more about the Iran situation. And Walt Oakham, computer problems. He'll take care of all that here on the Gary Sutton Show, where it is 8 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good. I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show, the final hour here on a Tuesday morning on the Main Street of York and York County. I am Gary Sutton. It's all brought to you by our presenting sponsors, KindnessWorldwide.org. You know, Kevin Smith had his wallet returned. And you say, well, that's nice. I mean, he left it at the market on a Good Friday 3 years ago. He left it at the market. And imagine leaving your wallet. And then you drive home and you're getting your groceries out. You reach in, where's my wallet? Where's my wallet? I must have left it in the car. You go out to the car. It's not there. And all of a sudden you start recounting your steps. You go, oh, my gosh, what happened? And somehow, I've never asked him exactly how he left it there, Mark, if it dropped out of his pocket or if he left it at the counter when he was paying for stuff or somehow
counting
it
his
slipped out.
green stamps.
Probably, that was it. But the point was he left it. Can you imagine freaking and you start to run to the car to jump in and go back and find it, thinking that there's no chance you're going to get it back, and all of a sudden someone's at your door handing your wallet to you. Not only that, the girl who's at the door handing your wallet to you doesn't have a license, had to call a friend, had to get a friend to take her there to drop it off. And now you're standing there going, wow. And now most of us just say, well, it's nice you returned the wallet. But when you think about the breadth of that, it went well beyond it. And that's what happened that really triggered Kevin then to say, I want to thank her in a very public way. That's just a really cool thing. And then it got him thinking more about, well, what can I do to be kind to other people? And it blossomed into KindnessWorldwide.org. And so Kevin has been going out all over the world now. In fact, produced a documentary that now is up for some huge awards on some national film festivals and international film festivals. And it's going out all over the place. And they're even having a Kindness 20 summit in Florida later on in May. So there you have it, KindnessWorldwide.org. What can you do? Why not you? Why not me? Why not us? Why not right now? Every single day, a chance to focus on kindness. So we talk about that all the time here on our show. We really believe in it 100%. Also, Ian Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law. You can check them out today at Ian Stein and Sparler, 117 East Market Street, right here in New York. And they're ready to help you with all the various needs you have when it comes time to have a lawyer. And it's not necessarily just going to court or anything like that. It's estate planning, estate administration, things like that, where you don't know all the fine points that need to be known, and they do. They're good at it. And they've been good at it since 1937. 717-846-8811 is the number. Hours are Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5 p.m. Ian Stein and Sparler, attorneys of law. They are both proud presenting sponsors of the Gary Sutton Show. Don't forget to check us out at our text line at the Back Nine text line, 833-478-4729. The Back Nine, the premier indoor golf place here in York. Open 24/7. Golf never sleeps there. And you can check them out at theback9.com/York-PA. Don't forget to also check my webpage, which is basically my Facebook page, at Gary Sutton Show at Facebook. And we have all of our things that come up there during the day, but we're also on Instagram, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and all good social media near you. So all of that happening today. And if you want to podcast our show again or take pieces out of our show later on, go to YouTube, and all you got to hit right there is WOYK. By the way, before I get into our next guest, I have got to profusely apologize. Mike Smith came in today. He's the head of the YMCA, the Roses, and he is the new executive director and a great guy. And I know Mike. That's the worst part. And I called him Mike White. I don't know where.
You mean the guy that wrote What was the White Lotus?
I don't know, but I called up. Don't make it worse than it is now. I'm going to go back on to Mike White again. Mike Smith. Now, how do you screw up Mike Smith? I mean, two of the most common names.
Oh, my Lord.
Mike Smith, but it's not common in YMCA. He's doing a great job here as the executive director. But I told Mike, I said, I'm an idiot. How do you do that? And I'm a great believer that your name is the most important thing to get right, and I screwed it up. So, Mike, I apologize profusely as you're driving somewhere in the city right now, thinking about the extra counseling you're going to need and all of that, and people at your work are going to say, hey, man, he called you Mike White. It's Mike Smith. So, Mike, I owe you a round of golf, my friend, okay? Anyway, there you go. I hope that I have now sufficiently thrown myself on the punji sticks of forgiveness and gotten it right. Anyway, with that, we turn right now, and if I get his name wrong, I could be in real trouble because he's the captain of the York City Police. We're talking about Dan Lentz, who joins us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Dan, I didn't screw your name up, did I?
No, Gary, you got it.
Great to have you in. And Dan and I have talked before, but Dan, great to have you aboard. And thank you for your service to the community and all the York Police Department. You guys do such a great job. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Dan, I wanted to talk with you today about mental health related to policing and related to police as well. And I know that's an area that you're very big on. Let's get into that a little bit this morning because I think that's something that's really important for people to know.
Yeah, it is. Roughly 20% of the population, has some type of condition of mental health. So it's important for all of us to recognize, mental health and mental illness and figure out ways that we can properly address it.
Dan, it was a really tough year for policing here in York County last year. We know we lost 4 members of the police community. And when you talk about mental health, that was certainly involved. We know in the incident out of UPMC, possibly the incident that happened down in Seven Valleys. But you deal with that every day. I mean, you're in the city of York here, and you're going into situations that are unknown or in some cases maybe known, and you're not quite sure what's going to come out of that. Talk about how you deal with that as a police community.
Yeah, when you think about the role of a police officer, most of the calls that we go to are deal with individuals in crisis. And, as leaders in the police departments, it's our responsibility to make sure our officers have the proper training and education to recognize and kind of differentiate between just somebody that's in crisis or somebody that's suffering from a mental illness. And so the one thing that we do here in York County is we have the crisis intervention team, and we have a 40-hour course that focuses on mental health education, crisis de-escalation, and identifying community resources to help our officers to arm them with the tools that they need to properly, address these issues when they're dealing with just everyday calls.
It's amazing to me, and I somewhere I want to ask you, in your years of being in the police department, I suspect that policing has changed a lot over that period of time, probably as much in the mental health area as any area. Would I be correct on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We cannot arrest our way out of problems. We have to find alternative solutions. What we see is a lot of times we were arresting the same individuals over and over again. And many of them had some form of mental illness where if after that first arrest, maybe we diverted from an arrest per se and focused on getting some type of treatment. Mm-hmm. So by doing that, we can reduce that recidivism.
Mike, is there a procedure that you go through when you go out into a situation now where maybe that crisis intervention team is brought in immediately because you sense that there's something that's going to happen there? Or is it something where you encounter that once you get there and now maybe there's a need to call them in? How does that all work?
Well, officers want to make sure the scene is safe when they get there. So, you can't forget that. But,
sure.
Officers, I think, have to just drop their assumptions and focus on connecting with that individual. And that's one of the things that we teach during the CIT course is, building rapport. I know that we're problem solvers. We want to solve problems, but as individuals, especially those with mental illness, just want that deep connection. And it's teaching the officer to slow things down and try to build a little bit of a relationship with that individual before you try to solve their problem.
We ask officers to do so much for us now in society, and I don't know if it's more than it used to be. I don't have any way of measuring that. But we ask you to be all things to all people at a particular point, and that's got to be tough for you guys too mentally, going out and having to do that on a regular basis. I know you sign up for it. I know it's something you aspire to be, and yet at the same time, we ask an awful lot of you out in society, don't we?
Yeah, that's fair, and but in the interest of fairness, recognize that we don't have all the answers, but I think what sets us apart is the willingness to go and find that resource, to find that answer.
Dan, what is the hardest thing that you guys do in terms of dealing with people when you get out there? Even though you're out there, you're saying, okay, I'm trying to establish a rapport. I'm trying to get a relationship with someone. I'm trying to talk them through a situation that they're seeing the darkest side of it. I want to bring them out at least someplace where we can get some common ground. What's the toughest part about that?
Well, that's tough, because I think the toughest part might be different for different officers. We all have different skill sets. Yeah, we all have different skill sets. But I think practicing patience at times is, at least in the city here, we answer about 60,000 calls a year. And so, our calls can stack up. And I think sometimes the officers feel the pressure to clear a call because they have another call that they have to get to. And, what we want is, to give that individual on that call our time and not feel rushed. And so I think that's a large part of it, is just the lack of, feeling rushed or the feeling of being rushed to get to the next call. Let's slow it down. Let's give this individual in front of us our complete attention and focus on their needs.
You're treating people as people. I like that. And you said a couple different things that don't rush, slow down a bit. I think that's just from a layman's point of view, as I'm listening to this, that's something really important. I've heard people say in basketball, hey, when I'm playing really well, I feel like the game's being played in slow motion. But as police, you almost want it to be slowed down, where you can say, okay, now let's just stop here. Let's slow it down. Let's listen a bit. Let's make sure we get this right. And that seems like a really paramount thing you've talked about here in this segment this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, those things, just like in pro sports, they come with time and experience. The more time you have on the job, the more training like CIT that we can give officers, the better they're going to be able to handle those crisis events.
And finally, the mental health for your officers that are involved, that's a big thing, too. I mean, I obviously last year with the 4 deaths here in York County, a lot of officers needed a lot of help. I know a lot of different adjudications got involved there, UPMC, and, that's got to be a big part of all this as well, too, right?
It's a huge part, which is why we're taking efforts within the York City Police Department through mandatory mental health check-ins and our peer support program, because we believe here that if our officers are mentally sound and mentally healthy, that's going to translate into community health. Our officers being in a good place mentally will allow them to perform at their best when they're out there dealing with this in crisis.
Dan, you've taught me a lot this morning. As always, I appreciate it, my friend. I look forward to talking to you again. And thank you on behalf of the York community for all that you're doing here in terms of policing in York.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Gary.
Dan, take care. Dan Lentz here, the captain with the York City Police, and telling you a little bit about some of the things they have to do when dealing with mental health issues on the spot. Imagine going on to these different scenes and having to deal with that. And the biggest thing that he said this morning, I think it was important, slow it down. Don't rush. Take your time. Get it right. And again, in a year when we saw 4 police officers lose their lives last year, I can't think of a more poignant way of talking about what these people do, these heroes who live in our midst, who are trying to get it right in the community.
Well, I'm kind of torn, not by what you said, but after the break, I wanted to play the song of the year for 1981 was released on this date. That's on one hand, but on the other hand, I think it might be on the list.
We'll look forward to hearing it next, I think, all here on the Gary Sutton Show, the main street of York and York County, right here on WOYK.
Is it on the list?
It is.
I'm sorry.
It's not, but I think I mentioned the other day, not it's Betty Davis eyes.
Right.
Not totally. I don't totally hate it.
You know, this was released on this date in 1981.
Yeah, which was a shame that it was released.
Well,
they
Kim
should have kept it in captivity.
She really wasn't, not
Not a great singer. No.
Well, she wasn't of note, and but this ended up becoming a huge hit, and was Song of the Year actually in 1981.
She only had two really big songs, right?
Yeah, this one and More Love. I think she also sang on a duet.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, but it's been a while.
She'd have had a better chance on a duet.
Speaking of...
This hour, by the way, be brought to you by York Computer. You can find them at yourdigitalbodyguard.com or yorkcomputer.net. And, of course, located at 2069 Carlisle Road right out here in York. For everything you need from York Computer repair. They can remote into your home, businesses, and residential area. It doesn't matter. They cover your digital backside. They do all those kind of things. They have new computers out there as well. 717-739-9675. Open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mark?
So earlier we were talking about Disney announcing that they were going to try. I guess it's been on the board for a while, but they're going to move it now. A live action Tinkerbell. And one of the great things about our text line is that, when it's easy for you to respond, you can do it. There's no waiting on the phone, calling, busy signals, those kinds of things. And Rich is one of the great users of that. When he has something to say, he just jots it down and sent it in. And this morning he says, "Morning, gents. It's hard to beat Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell in Hooked." Mm-hmm. And I forgot about that. Yes, she was...
The problem is you had to watch Hook, which, that was with Dustin Hoffman, and that it was... Ugh.
I don't know. She was...
she would be the one saving grace of that whole thing.
Well done, Rich. Well done.
Yeah, thank you, Rich. We appreciate you saving us on that one. But, yeah, it was... Julia was the only good thing about Hook that was
there.
Oh, absolutely.
I know it was a part kids movie. It tried to be for adults too.
Well, Julia Roberts was the part for the adults.
Is that right?
That would for guys. Yeah, okay. I mean, she's gorgeous. I mean, she really is.
Are you ready for some pet news? I don't know if it's about cats today.
Go ahead. I don't know.
So let's see what happens with pet news.
Okay.
Take a pause.
Some of the most dangerous creatures out there are making an early appearance. Rattlesnakes, they're popping up in Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California because the region's gotten so much warm weather lately.
We've had 43 calls in February of this year. Last year, we had about 18.
That's Bruce Ireland of the Snake Wranglers in San Diego County.
They do not look at a calendar. They don't know months. They don't know time of day. They just know it's nice out. Let's go out and try to find a meal, a drink of water, or a mate.
Wildlife officials say if you come across one, slowly back away by about 10 feet. And Ireland advises hikers to be alert, and if you're walking your dog, keep them on a leash.
It's when you have earbuds in, you're talking to your friends, you're on your phone, and you step on one when bad things can happen.
And if you've got your earbuds in, you might not be able to hear. Ew. Take a pause. Joel Nato, Fox News.
Yeah.
Why did it have to be snakes?
I remember a few years ago reading an article about a guy who decided to protect his business with rattlesnakes. And he put a note on the door, and he let them loose at night. The problem is you had to go in and gather them up in the morning. And I mean, okay, so if I see rattlesnake guarded on the door, pretty good chance I'm not going to go there. I played golf a few years ago in Scottsdale, Arizona at the TPC, where they play the Waste Management Open every year. And my wife and I went out there, and when you go off the green part of the thing, you go out into like a desert. The desert, you have green and you have desert, and that's it. And they have these signs there, rattlesnake area. And so when your ball goes in there...
So what did you think?
I didn't go in there. I didn't walk in the desert part. When it says rattlesnake protect, or not rattlesnake protect, but rattlesnake natural area, I don't need to be on the visiting team at that point. When I walk into the desert, I now am on the visiting team But one of the things that happened that day was I had a pretty good round going. I ended up shooting 69, and it was a really good round. But when I got out of the cart to one hole to walk back to my tee, and in this little bush area, I heard shh, and I went,
oh, really?
Okay. And I gave it about a 40-foot berth, but I was going to tee off. I walked up the tee, and I gave a 40-foot berth, come back out around, and my wife wanted to jump out of the cart. Said, "Where is it?" I said, "Stay in the cart. Don't need to ruffle. It's whatever.
Right.
It's rattling. It's letting us know it's there." I figure he's been good enough to let me know. I'm going to be good enough to give him a wide berth, and that's what I did.
I liked how that report where the expert, he reminded me of Steve Shetter, actually, of TES, when they talk about, we bring our fears to pests, and I'll include rattlesnakes with that. But, he boiled it down, very easily. He said, basically, they have no clock. They have no calendar.
That's right.
So they're only looking for three things. Imagine just guiding your life by three things: something to eat, something to drink, and mate. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason to
needs
leave
are kind of basic.
Yes, apparently.
Sex, food, and whatever, shelter.
Drink.
Let's go ahead and drink it. Yeah. So, and you figure, okay, a guy that simple, I'm going to give him some room. He's getting a wide berth, and that's what you do.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I hate snakes. I mean, I ate all kinds of snakes.
I remember the year we found a black snake in the garage.
Yeah.
And it came out. Well, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
First I thought, because I don't know snakes. And but then we looked it up online, and there was a picture. It's like, oh, it's a black snake, which I guess is actually good because they're like rodent hunters.
They're supposedly good. People say, oh, you got a black snake around.
Yeah.
It's a snake. I don't want it in my garage. I don't want it around my house.
It moved quick.
It eats mice and it eats rats. Great. Go eat it somewhere else. I don't need it right here. Yeah, but it's helping you out. No. I was playing golf one day with some friends of mine out at Royal Manchester Golf Club right down there in Manchester, Mount Wolf. And I'm coming down a hill on number 7. And as I'm driving down the hill, I see these two snakes. The cart in front of us, the two guys, and we were in the other two, so there's a foursome. And we're in the cart, and I see the snakes crawling out near the edge of the path, and I can't stop.
Oh.
And so the snakes looked like they were kind of pissed, and all of a sudden, as we're going by, the one snake strikes at the golf cart.
No kidding.
And I didn't know what kind of snake it was at the time. And there were two of them there, and they were big. And so, I went, oh, my gosh. And the guy in my car goes, that's really cool, man. Let's go back and see it. I said, no, we're not going back and seeing them. What are you out of your mind? The thing just tried to hit our cart.
Really?
It was after us. So I go down to the clubhouse, which is right down at the end of the hole. And of course, by the time I got to the clubhouse, it was an anaconda. I had built it up. It was trying to eat us. And they had them come out, and they were two rather nasty. It was a husband and wife black snakes, so I guess they were having an argument in the family or whatever. Yeah. And they moved them. They didn't kill them, but they moved them somewhere else. Why did you move them? Kill them. Yeah, but they were nice to the snakes. Because snakes are people too, right? Eugenia Pasquale's up next here on the Gary Sutton Show. On WOYK, I get a break here. We'll be right back.
You're right.
With more. Yeah, Your Computer sponsoring this hour, the Gary Sutton Show. I don't know if they have a way of getting rid of snakes, but we'll have to ask Walt Oakham later on today about that. But they do cover against the snakes at your back door who are trying to sneak into your digital system. And, Your Computer is the only place I've ever had to go. Yeah. Because they are my digital bodyguard. It feels good to have peace of mind. Give them a call today at 717-739-9675, open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., right out there at 2069 Carlisle Road in the shallow area of York. The name here in York when it comes to helping solve all your computer needs, whether you're a small business or residential. They can repair it. They also have new computers there. They'll customize your computers for you. They'll answer your questions, and they do it better than anybody else. Your Computer. We take a break. We'll come right back. It's 8:30. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Who's this?
Shania Twain.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
well, she
my.
had an entirely different look by that, didn't she?
You know, she still kind of looks the same, actually.
Her hair was a little different color and all that. But, yeah,
I don't know. She's kind of sexy.
Beautiful lady. Yeah, she's very beautiful. Yeah. And could sing a little bit, too. You like that country style, and she kind of crossed the pop culture thing with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that don't impress me much. Big hits for her.
Yeah, very good. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK as we're in our final half hour, actually, of a Tuesday morning. And, of course, very busy week for high school basketball, as Darryl mentioned a moment ago. Tonight they're on at 6:45. Downtown girls against Emmaus here in the second round now as we start to move into serious time now in the state championships. And it's one and done now. You lose this match, you're done for the season. And then, of course, tomorrow night, a great doubleheader coming to you from the Geigel Complex in Reading. Central against Father Judge, the defending state champions. That's at 5:45. And then York High against Imhotep Charter, who has won like 12 state championships. They're the number one team out of Philadelphia, 7:30 tomorrow night. So two huge games there for boys 6A, all here on WOYK. Darryl Henry, Andy Bria, just doing a great job out there. And always fun to listen to. Very unique style and bring you the best in high school basketball, all here on WOYK. With that, we turn to Eugene DePasquale, who is the head of the Democratic Party here in the state of Pennsylvania. Good morning, Eugene. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Gary. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I was interested yesterday. President Trump had, I guess, kind of a press conference, and he said, we quote, and I thought it was just, strange wording from a guy who's been known to make some strange wording now and then. He muses out loud. We talked about that a lot. But he said Monday that the Iran war was a quote-unquote short-term excursion, unquote, after telling a CBS reporter that, quote, the war is very complete, unquote. He said, we took a little excursion because we felt we had to get rid of some evil. I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion, short-term. How good is our military, right? Short-term. We rebuilt the military the first term, and I didn't know we'd be using it so much in the second term, unquote. He said, interesting choice of words. Somebody from CBS that asked him, we'll be over this week then. He said, not this week, but soon, very soon. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of things happen as a result of that right now. We heard about a school being hit. We're looking at the gas prices going on. We're looking at most of their leadership wiped out. Now the son of Khamenei is stepping in. Give us a little bit of a perspective right now, if you could.
This is clearly a war of choice, and he's probably getting heat from even fellow Republicans as to how long is this going to go. Mm-hmm. We were told, back June, when I think a lot of people, I think us included, said he handled the Iranian situation well, where we were told that obliterated their nuclear capability. And now are we in this about the nuclear capability, or is this regime change, or are we just going to pick wars with everyone that we want, that we think is evil? And it's all over the map, Gary, and I can't tell what he wants out of this.
Right, I can't either, and I'm not sure. And then we mentioned about, the guy that got in there now is the son of the guy that we just killed. And so you got to think that's not a real long-term gig for them. And so do we now start to wander back into regime change again and nation building? Two words that are mutually exclusive for us because we haven't done a great job of nation building, nor do I think we want to be in that particular business. Even the president, I don't believe, wants to go there. And yet we seem to nudge terribly close to that sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, and look, the only time we really did anything close to doing a decent job on that was after World War II. And that was a full nation commitment.
That was a Marshall Plan, yeah.
Yeah, right. But that's a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of troops. And now, again, I could be proven wrong on this. There is no way that we are going to go in and run Iran without a million boots on the ground.
Oh, my goodness.
You and I know that is not going to happen. So to me, this idea of regime change is just a fantasy because we can't be there to control the ground anyway. I don't, which is why, look, if you want to get the nuclear capability, I understand that, but this is well beyond that. And by the way, when you're doing all this from the air, and that's how hitting the school happens, like I don't believe anyone in U.S. military targeted that school.
No, not at all.
But when you were launching these missiles from all over the place, you can get your targeting bad. The radar could pick the wrong target. A lot of bad things can happen because you're now not just hitting military facilities anymore.
The other one that I thought we were pretty good at, MacArthur rebuilding Japan. That was the other one that, resurrected that. But both of those were pretty good plans, and they worked out. But I would say overall we're not that good at it. The thing that seems to have changed now, Eugene, that I think the president, and again, maybe you give him some credit on this, during the Cold War, we've talked about this a lot recently, during the Cold War, everybody knew the rules. Everybody knew what was at the end. If you got to a point where you went over the edge, there was a nuclear weapon waiting at the end, and everybody said, okay, we got it. We're playing in this pool, and there's a lot of stuff that could happen. But once we start talking about nuclear weapons, we're all responsible enough to stay away from that. Then you get Iran. And not only Iran, but by proxy, the other terrorist groups. Now you say they get their hands on a nuclear weapon. Maybe they don't know the rules. And maybe that's where the rubber meets the road in defining, who you're going to go get and who you're not going to go after. Because someone said the other day, what about going after China and Russia? They all have nuclear weapons. I said, they understand the rules. These guys don't seem to understand the rules. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's a point to be made there. Look, I don't think and it is a pretty bipartisan consensus that we didn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
Correct.
So that's and the funding of the terrorist groups is certainly, something that they have been doing, and it is something that, you got to try to find a way to put a stop to it. I don't know if this is the way to do it, but having said that, I get the point. That was, by the way, for people out there, like that was why you had Afghanistan and Vietnam. These were all sort of satellite wars. Still people died, et cetera, because they were proxy wars for the Cold War. Today, really, international terrorism is probably the bigger threat than nuclear, in my opinion,
right.
because that's how these groups end up trying to fight to get influence.
And then imagine those groups, though, getting their hands on a nuclear weapon. And again, if you have a state sponsor of terrorism that's doing that, and they say, oh, by the way, here, we've got the nuclear weapon now, take that and do what you will. These people are crazy enough to do that. And I think that's so in that sense, maybe we're making the Middle East safer. I don't know in the long run. The scoreboard hasn't lit up for the end of the game yet. We'll see what happens. Hey, I wanted to ask you also, the president said, I'm going to veto every other piece of legislation coming down until the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility America Act is signed. This is the one that was introduced in early 2026 that aims to overhaul federal voter registration and identification requirements. And it builds upon the earlier SAVE Act by adding a national voter ID mandate for casting ballots in addition to strict proof of citizenship requirements for registration. Now, obviously, this is coming from the president. Obviously, it's coming from the Republican Party. And they're saying you need a U.S. passport or a certified birth certificate or a naturalization certificate or certificate of citizenship or a consular report of birth abroad. And they say a mandatory photo ID is needed. And, of course, it's based on a lot on the idea that illegal aliens are voting a lot in this country. Now, I don't know. I've seen a lot of different reports of this, but it doesn't seem to be a ton of illegal aliens voting. You get different people saying different things about this. But one of the things that I found to be peculiar about this whole thing, Republicans seem to be way too hot on this, and Democrats on the other end, and again, let's take out the idea of there's a whole lot of illegals voting.
Right.
Democrats are on the other side are saying, well, if you're poor, you can't get access to this. And we can't, married women are having a tough time finding new ways. And I say both ends to me seem silly on this. The idea of having an ID in a present day where, we have a pretty technological society doesn't seem to be that hard a thing. But both sides protest way too much, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on this?
So, first of all, the overall bill, I think, is bad because I think it's a solution searching for a problem.
Okay.
And in a lot of states, Pennsylvania included, there is a voter ID requirement. When you voted your ballot box for the first time, you have to show ID. having said that, I get your point. There is more hypocrisy on this issue than you can shake a stick. I'm going to give you an example. I was actually on the state government committee when Pennsylvania was passing its original voter ID. Now, I was kind of ticked off because they only allowed certain forms of ID. And I remember they added an amendment into the bill. This is, so I'll try to make this as quick as possible. They added an amendment to allow gun or hunting licenses photo ID to be okay. I offered an amendment to allow student ID, photo student ID to be okay. They voted that down. And I'm like going, I get it, guys. The hunters are more Republican. The students are more Democratic. Are we? And I mean, my point is, this is where the hypocrisy comes in. Are we here about trying to show who's legally allowed to vote, or are we trying to suppress voters? And that to me was an example where if the hunting license was fine, why isn't the student ID fine?
Right.
Of course, that got voted down on partisan lines. I'm going to say there was partisanship on both sides. But then we got to the floor, and the Republicans had realized they screwed up, and they passed an exemption that if you religiously objected to having your photo taken, then you didn't have to because the Amish lean more Republican. And I'm like going, guys, and I'm the only.
And that shouldn't be the driving force. That's my point.
That's right. To me, it's like if you want to have the photo ID, let student ID, hunter ID, and the Amish have to show it.
Across the board.
Across the board. If this is about winning elections, then just say it and just admit you're trying. But if this is really about a security issue, then it should be everybody, and it should be a free ID.
Well, we get this idea of who's going to decide the districts and how they're going to be drawn and this kind of stuff. But this idea that the Democrats the other contend they will disenfranchise millions of eligible citizens who lack ready access to the required documents, such as young voters, married women who have changed their names, and low-income officials. I get it. If it's being done for reasons that are going to be benefiting one side or the other, so be it. But you know what? With all the people recruiting people to vote and all the things that are accessible right now, I find that to be kind of specious as well.
The reality is, by the way, there are some forms that bill is onerous. I'm going to just say that.
I got you. But,
okay, so let's just I want to put that bill is that. But there is a way to craft a bill where the parties would be able to then, in the court, if you gave, say, a 2-year lead up, they would be able to organize to make sure their voters got this, whatever the form.
Exactly. Yeah, let's just let's show some ID. I still do it out of habit. I pull my ID. They say you don't need it. I said yeah, I do. And I show up and I show my ID card now, and there you go. Anyway, Eugene, always good topics to talk about. I have a feeling we'll have a few more next week to talk about. They won't all run out in the meantime. But thanks for joining me this morning. I always appreciate it.
Hey, you got it, Gary. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Care.
Eugene Pasquale here on the Gary Sutton Show. When we come back, Walt Oakham takes on computer problems. We all deal with computers every day. We all have problems come up, and we have things that happen. Walt helps to talk us down off the computer ledge here on the Gary Sutton Show. Back after this. No one could miss the sound of that guitar. Santana. Carlos Santana coming back. Yeah.
And Rob Thomas.
Could listen to him play forever. Black Magic Woman. This song, just Santana she's still playing today. I think he's still around playing. He's still picking it pretty well. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, and we welcome in the benefactor of this hour, the sponsor of this hour, York Computer, because it feels good to have peace of mind. They keep your digital world safe every day. You can find them at yourdigitalbodyguard.com or yourcomputer.net. They're located right out here at 2069 Carlisle Road in the Shiloh area of York, right next to the Shiloh Diner, by the way. 717-739-9675 is their number, open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. But Walt Oakham is a guy who likes to keep you safe, and he's here with us this morning. Good morning, Walt. How are you?
Hey, doing great, Gary.
Well, it's good to have you aboard here on a Tuesday morning. So what's new in the digital safekeeping world, my friend?
Well, that's a great question because this is something that we only do maybe once or twice a year where we offer a maintenance check at half price special. And that's what we're doing all month for the month of March, making sure that your computer's hardware and software is up to date. There's no viruses. Basically an overall tune-up on the computer at half price.
Tell me a little bit more about that, and what is the price that we have on that this month?
Yeah, so it's $69.50. We can turn around that computer very quickly, making sure that all of the parts on the computer are up to snuff. Basically, your computer has some warning systems in there that can tell you if certain parts are starting to fail, and that's how you prevent your computer being down for a long time. And so we look for those indicators. We're checking for viruses, making sure your Windows is up to date. All the security patches have gone through. It's a long list of checks that we do. It usually takes a couple hours. And so this is a great time to do it at half price sale.
And people can give you a call at 717-739-9675 to set up an appointment to get that done, or even just stop out there Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I've gotten to the point, Walt, where if my wife sends me a note, I double check it. I've gotten almost like gun shy. How do you keep away from being gun shy on all the stuff that's coming through your computer on a regular basis? Because I find people trying to bilk me or cheat me or sneak in my back door constantly. I saw a story this morning about people should be aware of this one that's going around now about paying a overdue turnpike bill. There's a lot of those fake bills out there and things like that. Is there a rule of thumb that you use or you tell people in terms of how not to let people enter into your computer with that kind of junk?
Yeah, well, that is a great question because that happens to everybody, and we see it every single day here. Somebody comes into our office with a similar question or a hacked computer because of something like that. And I always say the first level is education. Be aware of these types of scams, and so you may spot them better. Step 2 would be to have a good protection on the computer. So if something does get past your personal radar, so to speak, they cannot install anything. So that's my quick tip there for those types of activities.
I was telling people, and it happened in real time the other week at the end of our show, where I was hitting something here. I was going in and grabbing a site, which I do constantly throughout the show, and all of a sudden, all kinds of alarms are going off and everything else. And amidst all that noise and my frantic look at this whole thing, there you were in a calming thing. Turn this off right now. Do this, do this. I am part of a plan where I think I pay around $49 a month. And for that $49, you are constantly watching my computer to make sure that the bad guys don't get in there, right?
Yep, as simple as that.
And I can't tell you how calming it was to see you coming across there with the message, do this, which I did. I did all what you said. I turned it off. I turned it down. I came back in and reset everything, and it was all fine. And you were ready to remote in at that point, which you did, and double-check things, and everything was good, and all was right with the world, and I was happy again and whistling and skipping along my merry way. But I'll tell you what, that is the most important $49 I spend every month with regard to my computer, because my computer is my life with what we do here on our show, and I really appreciate that service. And people can get that again by calling 717-739-9675 and find out all about it, or going to yourdigitalbodyguard.com. Right, Walt?
Yeah, that's perfect. Couldn't have said it better.
Final thing this morning, Walt, what would you tell people this week?
I would say keep your eye open on text and emails. There's a lot of, with all this, political stuff going on right now, the threat level is higher. So keep your radar up.
I got it, and it's up all the time. But, Walt, thanks so much for all you do. And don't forget, you can get your computer repaired at Your Computer as well. They are the best of that. They can even remote in and help you sometimes when you can't bring it into the shop. But if you want to bring it into the shop, it's 2069 Carlisle Road in York. Call them today at 717-739-9675. I continue to tell people all about Your Computer, and they continue to be pleased when they go in there. Open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. Walt, thank you for all you do for our community.
Thanks, Gary. Take care.
Walt Oakman with all the good people at Your Computer, because it feels good to have peace of mind. Mark?
It is International Bagpipe Day.
There you have it. People
And
marching along, playing the bagpipes. And
that is the Mull of Kintyre. Paul McCartney, if you haven't heard it, you should check it out. It's National Pack Your Lunch Day. It is U.S. Paper Money Day. So use your paper money.
Mm-hmm.
International Wig Day. And, you know what? Use your paper money and make a donation to Salvation Army Day.
Sure. There it is. Salvation Army doing great work. Thanks to Mike Smith for stopping by today from YMCA. Thank you to Sarah O'Brien from downtown York for being here, part of us today. Thanks to Dan Lentz, our captain at the York City Police, and all they do for the community. It's been a great day here on the Gary Sutton Show. We really appreciate it. And we love being here on the main street of York and York County. Coming up tomorrow here on the Gary Sutton Show, Michael Gear will be here. We'll have Jeff Coleman. We'll have, who else? Julie Wheeler. We're going to have Peter Samuelson tomorrow, international film director. He wrote, I produced Revenge of the Nerds. He'll be here tomorrow as well, all ahead on the Gary Sutton Show. Have a great day, everyone. Be safe out there. Thank you to Mark. It's 9 o'clock.